Meanwhile, thanks to the Giants' loss last night, America's team is locked into the #1 seed in the NFC, and the road to the Super Bowl goes through Jerry's world. The Cowboys could elect to give their starters some rest, including quarterback Dak Prescott. Stephen A., do you think Tony Romo should get some reps?
Yeah, I do. I must say, I think that it would be a good thing for the Cowboys. I think that Tony Romo needs some rest. We have to preserve Zach. We have to preserve Dak now. We have to make sure that Dak doesn't get hurt. We have to make sure he's 100% healthy for when it plays. I mean, after all, they're the #1 seed, right? And then obviously, the road to the Super Bowl has to go through Big D, right? And we need our star rookie quarterback, our Rookie of the Year candidate, our league MVP candidate. We need him healthy and ready to go for the postseason. So what I would suggest if I were the Cowboys is I think it's important to make sure that the backup is ready to go. Because just like Max said, if I remember correctly, Max, didn't you say this? Well, you don't want to rest him too much because you don't want too much rust to kick in. Well, oh my Lord, I really don't want this to happen, but what if something happens to Dak? And then Tony Romo, Mr. Back Surgery, broken collarbone, and everything else, who hasn't really seen much action in the last 1.5 to 2 years. What if Tony Romo doesn't get any reps? What are you gonna do? So I just think that it's important that the Dallas Cowboys, put Tony Romo up in there. Put him up in there. Work out the rust. Make sure your backup quarterback is ready to go. I'm just saying, it's just a mere little suggestion from your friendly neighborhood co-host. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
Here's the problem. Number one,
nothing more to it.
Everything's going smoothly for the Cowboys. What they don't want right now is to create a quarterback controversy after they put it to bed. That's number one. Number two, if you haven't noticed, Dak has done a pretty good job at staying healthy this year. He doesn't seem injury-prone to me.
All it takes is one play.
I wouldn't want to jinx that guy.
All it takes is one play.
Sure, but for Tony Romo, that's much more likely than for Dak Prescott. In fact, what we have here is a case where you have by far the best backup quarterback in football in Tony Romo. The reason he's a backup is because he can't stay healthy. So the most important thing to do here is actually not keep your starter upright. He's been doing a pretty good job of that. But keeping your backup upright, who has a jacked up back, up and down, by the way, all up and down the back, it's all jacked connected. Up. The backup quarterback. And you need to keep him upright, not Dak Prescott. So actually, which it's the opposite of, most of the time, like, let's rest the starter, let's make sure he doesn't get hurt. No, in this case, you gotta rest the backup. Make sure he's not hurt, because should something happen to Dak Prescott, what you actually need is a healthy Tony Romo.
Max Kellerman, you make very valid points. Very eloquent in your soliloquy there.
Yes, little rhyming
very
too,
touching. Very, very touching. But here's the deal, Max. If you keep Dak Prescott in the game, I won't even say it for you, Max. I'm going to play a song for you. Take it away, guys.
Mediocre team and Big D. That's what makes this funny.
This is for you, Max.
I like
you.
You
got to worry about this. Listen to this. Do you see this music here? Do you see this video? Do you understand what I'm saying to you, Jerry Jones? You don't want to endanger Dak Prescott. You don't want to do it, Jason Garrett. You got to get Dak Prescott out of there. Play Tony Romo. Because if you don't, this could happen to you.
An accident waiting to happen, eh?
Suddenly, Stephen A. woke up.
Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm just trying to look out for America's team. That's all I'm trying to do. That's all I'm trying to do. That's all I'm trying to do.
Why'd you guys have to do that to Jerry's mouth? Oh my goodness. Let's keep going, guys. We got another big
Play
game.
Romo. Play Romo.
I want to get into.
Why not? You might as well play Romo, Dallas. Give the Giants
Can
even
we
better
move
shot.
on, Stephen A., or do you need to hear a little more? You're good?
No.
Okay.
I think we should go to commercial. Playing that video for our thing. That's what I think.
First,
it's appropriate.
It's a good song.
First, one more topic, and then maybe we'll bring it back for you if you're nice. Right now, you're on the naughty list. Maybe. I'll think about it, because I run this shit.
Yes, yeah.
The ball is 15, 20, he wants a man, 30, the 20, the 10, 5, touchdown Ravens! There's pass blocked at the 20-yard line. Picked up and taking for a touchdown.
Touchdown
Sensational. Fires down the middle. He's got a man. Touchdown, Ravens. Oh, he threw a strike to Steve Smith, Sr.
This is one of my favorite rivalries. This just in. These two teams, they don't like each other. The Steelers are a game up on the Ravens in the AFC North and have an 86% chance to win the division, according to 538.com. But the Ravens won their Week 9 matchup and would lead the division thanks to the tiebreaker if they manage to win on Sunday. Oh, Stephen A., your squad, the black and yellow, how important is it for them to win this one?
It's everything. It's everything, which is why I'm picking the Steelers to win this game, which is why I don't even have to talk about this game. I don't care about the football elements of it. I just know that when the final buzzer sounds, the Steelers had better win this damn game. Let's look at this. Let's count the ways. They've lost 6 of the past 7 games to the Baltimore Ravens, 4 in a row, including 2 at Heinz Field. They almost cost themselves a trip to the playoffs last year when Baltimore didn't even have anybody available, and they still went and beat the Steelers. Enough is enough. If you are the Steelers, a team that calls yourself Super Bowl championship contenders, you had damn well better go into your Heinz Field, your home turf, all right, in the Steel City, and act like you know what the Steel Curtain is all about. You better step up. You better handle your business. You better beat them down. I don't want to hear any excuses. No excuses. Jarvis Jones is #1 pick self. Now he riding the damn bench, for crying out loud. You got James Harrison playing right outside linebacker because you got a 39-year-old man that's got to be up in there because your behind can't get the job done. You relegated to taking special team snaps, for crying out loud. Enough's enough. The Steelers had better show up this Christmas Day. I swear. They better show up, damn it. They will win this game because they have to, because if they lose this game, they're going to lose the division. They'll probably miss the playoffs, and I can't even tell you how disgusted I'm going to be. I don't even talk about it no more. They better show up. Mike Tomlin, Big Ben, Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell. You better show up. You better show up this week.
What's steel curtain? That's a satin curtain.
You know what I'm saying. I'm talking about tradition. I'm not talking about this team. Don't confuse this, Moses.
Look, the Ravens have struggled running the ball okay. The Steelers can't, they have no secondary to speak of. The Ravens have looked better this year than I thought they were. I was wrong about them.
Not offensively.
But those who thought the Ravens would make some noise were proven right this season. But it's at Heinz Field. It's at Heinz Field when the Ravens have been a different team, and Flacco's been a different guy, it seems, at home versus on the road. The fact that this game is on the road for Baltimore makes me favor the Steelers. But think about what's at stake. If Baltimore wins this game, their chances go from extremely slim to win the division to just over 50%. I think it's like 14% to win the division. If they win the game, 51%. So they are a very hungry team, in addition to the fact that it's a rivalry game. In addition to the fact that these teams don't like each other. Baltimore has a lot to play for. The reason I like Pittsburgh, Donovan, is simply because they're at home.
You know what, Max? This game reminds me of the first game that we talked about your New York Giants going into Philadelphia. What's the problem that Eli Manning has? He doesn't play that well during the regular season. Well, we can say the same thing about Joe Flacco, about his regular season performance, because in the playoffs, Joe Flacco is one of the best playing in the playoffs at that particular time. His record speaks for itself. Mm-hmm. But when I look at this particular game, I look at more Ben Roethlisberger. The last time they played against Baltimore, Ben was coming off an injury, and they decided to abandon the run and throw the ball a lot more in that particular game. Le'Veon Bell is back healthy and one of the best, if not the best, running backs in the game. And I think they feature him a little bit more to attack that defense. Now, the Baltimore Ravens defense is one of the best defenses versus the run, and they will continue to get a little bit more than they expect from Le'Veon Bell. But what does that do? Now that opens up the play-action game. Antonio Brown. You talk about Green at the tight end position. Talk about Coach. You talk about guys now getting more involved. And for a team that's won 5 in a row at this particular time, momentum, chemistry, and flow is working in the favor of the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're back healthy again. Stephen A. talked about a couple guys that have been benched. Yeah, but let's talk about the guys that have been playing and active. They have elevated their game to playoff type of play. Now, the Pittsburgh Steelers understand the magnitude of this particular game, and I think they come out with that attitude. This is a game in which for rival games, all week you've been waiting for this opportunity to button your chin strap up and play against the Baltimore Ravens. And they can say the same thing in Baltimore. But when I look at Pittsburgh, everything works in the favor of the Steelers. And the deciding factor of this particular game is the health of Ben Roethlisberger.
Well, that's my point. They've lost 6 of the last 7 and 4 in a row, including 2 at Heinz Field, like I echoed earlier. But more importantly than that, you're looking at a Baltimore Ravens offense that has no running game. They rank 28th in the NFL. They're going to have to rely on the pass. When you look at it from that perspective, based on everything you just highlighted, Donovan, there is absolutely, positively no excuse for the Steelers to be unable to win this game. Offensively, as elite as Baltimore's defense can be at times. You have Big Ben, you have Antonio Brown, you've got Le'Veon Bell. All 3 are healthy and playing well. Handle your damn business. I think they'll put up points. It won't be 40, but I think they'll put up points. But your defense should be able to perform against this Baltimore Ravens
your
offense.
Secondary?
It should
your
happen.
secondary should be able to perform. The Steelers' secondary has not been very good, to say the least.
It has been very good, Steve.
Unlike you, Max Kellerman, I don't feel the need to repeat myself 1,000 damn times. I've said enough that the Steelers' secondary
Actually, Stephen if I repeat myself 1,000 times, it's 2,000 for you.
Whatever, Moses. Look, here's the deal, man. Yeah, by the way, Donovan, I call him Moses because of all the gray. All the gray win. But the point that I'm trying to make to you is this. I don't want to hear it. At the end of the day, the bottom line is this secondary should look relatively decent against this offense. That's all I'm saying.
Stephen A., let me add to that.
Pick a better tie for you.
Yeah, let me add to the more fuel to the fire. Remember, the matchup between Mitchell at safety and also Steve Smith. That whole deal, remember he tried to act like he was on Steve Smith's level, and Steve Smith said, "You're not even on my son's level." That should get a little animosity built up on that defense to apply pressure on Joe Flacco and force him to throw the ball maybe about 45, 50 times in this game.
Well, it's important that we recognize that when I talk about the Ravens offense in any kind of negative way, I certainly am not talking about the great Steve Smith, who has the greatest name in sports. Let's just be clear. He has the greatest name in the NFL.
Who is the most famous
we do understand
Steve
that, don't
Smith? I wanted to know, there's a basketball, obviously Steve Smith, the former basketball player, Stephen A. Smith, Steve Smith, the receiver.
It's just something special. It's just something special.
But who's the most famous?
I mean, even Donovan McNabb has said that.
Yeah, who's the most popular?
I think it might be you.
Hold it.
Hold it.
Well, we know who the loudest is.
Just because some of us are the greatest don't mean the others ain't great. You know what I'm trying to say? It's love and enough love to go around for everybody. There's only, you know what I'm saying? And the Steve Smith is very popular. There's no bunch of Max Kellerman or Spot Kellermans walking around.
That right.
You see what I'm saying?
The world couldn't handle that.
All right.